driving the refreshed $100,000+ Cadillac CT5-V Series Blackwing. This vehicle is an anomaly. Now, Car and Driver just tested it on VIR for their lightning lap, and it came close, if I remember correctly, to the Revuelto, the flagship Lamborghini. This thing is an absolute missile in a straight line with this supercharged 6.2 liter V8, but on a track it's arguably more complete. This actually has an automatic transmission. I'm going to tell you guys if this is the way to go over the manual. We're going to drive it today, but let's just first get under the hood because this thing is it's so beautiful. This 6.2 liter supercharged V8. Let's go and crack the hood here. Hey guys, make sure to stay to the end because I'm going to compare this Cadillac to all the other cars I've driven so far in 2025, and I'll put it on a spreadsheet and tell you where it stacks up. Is this the best car I've driven in 2025? I think it's going to be pretty close. Oh God, yes, yes. The hood struts, you got the big V logo here on this insulated hood. You got the supercharger pulley right there. You can see manufactured by Ben Walden Performance Build Center by Cadillac. So 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet of torque made it to a 10-speed auto here. Remember, you can get a 6-speed manual. That's how I tested it previously before the refresh. And it's just a thing of beauty. Big displacement V8, supercharged. I love it so much. So the front end, guys, the front end. This is the refresh. I think the pre-refresh looks better. This is so busy, it's so aggressive. There are fake vents, I guess you could say, underneath the headlights. I don't think they look bad, but you have a vent under here for the intercoolers. I think it's fine looking. It's aggressive, you get the carbon fiber lip below it, but I honestly think the pre-refresh looked better. Let me know if you guys agree with that or disagree with that. You have the massive brakes here. I mean, they take up pretty much the entire circumference of the rim, okay, or the wheel, like. And then we got the V Blackwing logo there, or badge on the side. We got a little bit of aerodynamic piece right here, and it is functional. This thing has been getting dirty, so if you get this beautiful blue color, it is going to show dirt quite easily. It would have been nice because this piece down here is just glossy black. It would have been nice if that was carbon fiber to match the front, and same thing on the back. Now also look how huge the rear brakes are. We have double calipers here. All right, that's crazy how much braking performance is in this Cadillac. When we get to the back, the wing here, I believe this is part of the refresh. This carbon fiber wing, it matches kind of the carbon fiber lip in the front. And maybe I should just put the camera down and give you guys some revs. Even if you're not going fast in the CT5-V Series Blackwing, it still sounds great all the time with these quad tip exhausts and the big V8 roaring. I mean, this thing just sounds like an animal idling here. Pretty big trunk. I mean, this is a large sedan. Of course, a fix-a-flat kit, you're not going to have a spare tire here. You can fold down the seats 60/40. This is not like a electronic raising hood. Now we also have these lights here, and speaking of lights at night, I thought about doing a night review of this. I just, with the baby, he hasn't been sleeping, so it's been hard to get up in the morning. I'm doing an early morning review of it, but anyways, there's a bunch of light animations when you walk up to the car with the headlights and whatnot, so it's pretty cool. This thing's been an absolute traffic slayer this week, taking my kids to school. This interior, it's a little busy for me. You have white stitching, red stitching, you have black, you have caramel, then you have like this caramel seat belt. It doesn't do it for me. Now we also have the carbon fiber back to the seats with a little V badge there, suede on the insert. Like, the materials are nice, it's just that the colors here are strange. All right, also the V logo here, suede suede roof. There is no sunroof in here. Vents in the back, USB-C, and a 12-volt huge drivetrain hump, but that hasn't been bothering my kids who have tiny legs. Now, one of the downfalls to these carbon fiber back seats is that you can't adjust the headrest, so it's a one-size-fit-all situation for the seat. Oh, I didn't talk about headroom. I just bonked my head on the way back in. I've good headroom-ish, If I go all the way back, I run into it. Yeah, people aren't getting this to haul people around in the back seat, I would assume. All right, so let's get into the front seat. Same materials on the front of the front door. Memory seats. This took me a while to find because when you're sitting in the car, you can't really see the memory seats. I'm like, where are my memory seat function? Well, it's right here. All right. AKG sound system sounds pretty good, but most of the time I'm listening to the V8 soundtrack instead. Skid plate there. We have adjustable thigh. We have massaging seats. These seats I just noticed this for the first time, this kind of crisscross pattern there. And again, here's the non-adjustable headrest. The seats are fine, okay? They're fine. They're very firm, and you can adjust the bolsters in here, and that's what most people are going to care about is the functionality. They don't look that pretty, but they get the job done. Like, look how busy this is with the glossy black up here too. Carbon fiber just looks really good on the door. All right, this is new. This big screen, this is more in line with like the Escalade, for example. I love this screen. I love it. It's really easy for me to work with. The head-up display is on the sport setting, so I can see the revs. But I love this little screen on the left. I can adjust my trips. I can adjust my head-up display through this little screen. I can change my gauge cluster. I can just put on map, and then look at that. I just love this. I love it. I can make it pretty minimal and put it on assist, and then we go back to gauge, and then you can link it to drive modes, but then you can also do different sport settings here, right? Oh gosh, it's just so cool. I like keeping it here. I like the touring one the best. It's minimal, and I get the information I need. And there's also 0 to 60 stopwatch here, launch control sort of thing. We're not doing launch control. We're not on track. I don't want to spin out and ruin this vehicle. All right, yeah, this touchscreen is good too. We have Google built in. It takes up the whole screen. I have not plugged in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but that's wireless here. Carbon fiber on the dash. The materials here are fine. I have no problems with it. The steering wheel, I don't know if it feels $100,000, but it's carbon fiber in it, so it gets a pass. Paddle shifters here to row through the 10-speed auto. Heated steering wheel, steering assist. I got this V button, which is going to allow me to customize the V mode, which is essentially let's go crazy. And God bless America and Cadillac for making this vehicle. But yeah, you can see the engine sound as it should be, all the way up on track mode. All right, so you can customize this thing to the moon, as you should be able to, because it's a track vehicle. And heated and ventilated seats. It's still a luxury car. And I like having auto brake hold here. I don't know why. Oh, I have to fasten my seatbelt for auto brake hold. That's a bit silly. Wireless charger. I like having these switches here. Very simple for me to like figure out. No, there's no dials for this climate control, but guys, I'm happy with it. I don't have really any complaints. It does take a while, but at least it's all tactile, real buttons, real switches, and it's good. You have a rotary dial that I never use, and this interacts with this screen up here, but some people might prefer to use this. You also have a volume knob right behind the shifter, which looks like it looks very BMW-ish. It kind of almost looks like a golf club head as well. Cup holders right here. Carbon fiber around this area looks pretty nice. Let's open this up. Oh, you can also put your phone right here, and USB-C and USB-A in here. This is all felt lined, of course. I'm going to open this up. All felt lined in here, so very luxurious. V-Series matte. No digital rear mirror. I feel like that was on the previous, or the pre-refresh Cadillac CT5-V Series Blackwing. I thought I had a digital rear view mirror, but maybe I didn't. All right, so maybe you guys can, or I can look back at my old video, but I don't care that much. We also have auto folding mirrors, which is nice when you need to park this thing, or you bring it to a park. So guys, let's go ahead and start driving this masterpiece of a vehicle. Since it's like 8 o'clock, so we're about ready to brave rush hour. I like the idea of testing this as a real world test. Like, is this a good daily driver sort of vehicle? The manual is, I would say, not quite as good as a daily driver, because it's just a lot more work on your part, but I'm just going to cut to the chase. The manual is the better option of the two. But this is good too. If you don't care to drive a manual, or you have a lot of stop and go traffic, I get it. it's almost tempting to pick the automatic if it's your daily, and the manual, it just depends how much, you know, your situation, all right? The manual, though, is a lot more fun to drive. The manual is more rewarding. The manual with this engine and this vehicle, to me, is perfection. This 10-speed auto is really, really good, but it takes away some of that connection I have with the car. I feel like the car is kind of driving me. It's just easy mode. It's just kind of, you know, it's fine. It's still good. I shouldn't say it's fine. It's really good, but the manual is something that just speaks to the heart and soul of me as an enthusiast. All right. I still get to enjoy the engine here, the engine sound, the power of it, the rear wheel drive, the handling, it's all great, but the manual really completes the car for me. All right, let's talk about ride quality here. Yes, you have drive modes, this little button. I am in, well, I was in tour mode. Tour mode's the softest mode. It's still a firm ride. You still feel the road like a sports car. It's not overly stiff or punishing like I've been in other cars. And a part of that is we have adaptive dampers here that really can soak up the bumps quite well, despite it being tuned very sporty. All right, so let's follow this Tesla here, but the problem is I can't really gap. Again, it's early morning traffic, but I can't really get too much space because there's people behind me. The V8 soundtrack, the exhaust as well is fantastic. Is it as rewarding sounding as something like the LC500 that has a naturally aspirated V8? It's close. I feel like the engine sounds really good here, but the exhaust, I could have a little bit more claps, a little bit more feedback. Now, if I go to V mode, this is where the engine sound and everything's going to like the most aggressive setting here. I can kind of hear the pops and burbles in the exhaust, but there's nothing like the clapping and the raucous behavior of the LC500 and the Lexus, okay? I bring that vehicle up because it's also $100,000. I haven't driven it this year so far, but it's also a $100,000 vehicle. It is not nearly capable of the performance of this car, but it has other qualities. It means it's kind of apples to oranges, but it's also a V8 $100,000 vehicle that has a great sound, so that's why I'm bringing it up. All right, I think that actually the LC500 sounds better than this. LC500 isn't anywhere as brutally fast as this vehicle. This thing will spin its tires, especially if they're cold, at any given moment. So I feel like I can hardly ever go full throttle in this vehicle unless you're doing, oh, there's a Skyline. What did we just see there? I'm just gonna pull over so you guys can see what I just saw. A Skyline's leaving with a 911 GT3 or something. I just want to see what these guys are doing. What the hell? Guys, that's an R34. R34 is just, within the last year, they just became legal. I'm not going to try to rate. Of course I'm not going to try. He's probably not going to try to go fast. So I'm just going to follow these guys because why not? Yes, this is a, wow, we just saw, what was that, a CT4 series Blackwing there too? Wow, we have a R34 coupe. It's not the four-door. They did make them in, four-door sedans, but it's manual. I can hear it go. Inline 6, RB28, I think it's RB26. RB26, is that what it's called? Gosh, numbers right now are hard for me. But yeah, he just took it out of storage back there, so he's still warming it up. But wow, GTR, he still has in transits on it. Let's give him a thumbs up. He looked like a kid, man. He looked younger than me driving that car. That is just awesome. We have a Lexus RZ here, which is also a very rare car. Not as rare as a Skyline R34, but anyways, got to get this review back on the rails here. I think I'm still in V mode. And I'm just gonna go back to Tour. I feel like it does a good job making it comfortable even in V mode. Yes, you can customize V mode. If I press the V button, the suspension's on track, but it doesn't feel overly stiff. Like, I would say this is a fantastic daily driver if you got $100,000 to burn. Now, speaking of burning, you're gonna be burning through a lot of fuel. I'm seeing let me get back to my trip here, 13.4 miles per gallon. It's not ideal by any means at 13.4, but when you have 100 grand to burn on a supercharged V8, gosh, I can't believe we saw, that might be just a standard CT4. I don't know if that's the Blackwing or not. You guys will tell me, because I don't see the Blackwing logo on it. But yeah, the kid I call him a kid, but he looks really, really young in the Skyline behind me, but it's pretty cool. I feel like I'm the only guy that will test drive cars or be in fast cars without sunglasses. I think Rady doesn't wear glasses either. But let's get around traffic. It's a traffic slayer. Now, is it as easy to drive as a traffic slayer compared to the Ioniq 5N that I've also tested this year? That also has like 640 horsepower. This has 668, right? And the answer is no. The one pedal driving of the Ioniq 5 and the instant torque at all times, that's actually a better traffic slaying vehicle than this. And it's not quite as, I don't think it's quite as long. It feels a little bit shorter front to back compared to this really long CT5. So as a daily driver, as a traffic vehicle, I think I prefer driving the Ioniq 5. Specifically the Ioniq 5N, which is also in Car and Driver's Lightning Lap. But due to its weight, we know that it cannot hold a candle to this vehicle's setup here. This also costs about 40 grand more than the Ioniq 5N, which is just, that car really surprised me. Are there surprises here for me on this vehicle? And the answer is no. I'm getting exactly what I expected. I have a pretty average interior in terms of design. I like the materials, I like the comfort in here, but in terms of the design, it's pretty average. Functionality of this interior is all very, very good though. I get downgraded exterior looks in my opinion compared to the last CT5-V Series Blackwing that I drove. The 10-speed auto, it's really good, but as an enthusiast, I have a lot more fun with the manual and its rev matching downshifts. And I feel like I just have better control of the car too. Not only have a better relationship with what I'm feeling with the car, but I just feel I have better control with the acceleration and the traction with the manual than I do here, where this car is going to downshift sometimes when you're leaving a turn, which I don't have a lot of turns here, but it'll downshift and you get more power right. But you know, it's just, you always have to watch yourself and the traction of this vehicle, because it is a bit, oh, maybe we should get on the freeway. Maybe we should get on the highway so we can actually go fast. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Maybe we'll go into V mode here. Automatically downshifts a couple gears. We're gonna wait for this. We'll catch this Mercedes in a second, but see, it literally like 2 seconds we caught it. So that fast, you're up to like 80 miles an hour. Now 0 to 60 here is actually not as fast as the Ioniq 5N. I want to say I got like 3.4 seconds on that. I might actually be able to go quicker. The 0 to 60 on this is around 3.5. You're limited due to the traction only to the rear wheels. So it's not like, it's not the most, it feels a bit wild, and people love that. I'm sure people love it. All right. I just feel like I can't, unless I'm at a track and I probably have better tires, I can hardly ever put down the power to this vehicle, at least with the 10-speed auto. I didn't really feel like that was the case with the manual. Like I said, I probably just had a much more tighter relationship with the car with the manual variant of this. All right. But like, it's just so silly, like how much torque and power you have on tap to get around cars or merge with the speed of traffic, like, it's pretty fantastic. All right, I'm going about 90. There's hardly any wind noise. My God, this would be a great road trip car. Going about 90, there's hardly any wind noise. The car feels just as stable at like 10 as it does at 90. Cadillac's done a fantastic job making this vehicle feel good at all speeds. Holy cow. I'm really impressed with, maybe it's the long wheelbase helps here as well, but this thing just feels glued to the road. But now we're getting into traffic or some congestion here, so we're gonna have to get off. But I think this is a good way to wrap up the Cadillac CT5-V Series Blackwing. It still looks good, not as good. It still performs like a devil. Like, this thing's insane. The V8 sounds great. It handles so good, and I can't really show that due to me not having any curvy roads in Florida. But when I catch like a green, turning left or right, this thing feels really, really light and planted. The steering is razor sharp in here. It's fantastic as a handling car. But for me, I'm kind of, since I can't, I'm missing so much of this car's capability with where I live. But that doesn't stop people from buying Ferraris and Skylines, as you guys saw. It doesn't stop people from buying whatever car they want, because the roads are so good here. The weather is always good. And so it's just like a supercar hotspot. And I see these a lot. The CT5 Blackwings, I see them a lot where I live. And just because you can't ring them out, you can't ring this out really anywhere in America unless you're in like the desert or somewhere in northern South Dakota, and you just have miles of empty road. And so this thing, like, all I want to do is take this to a track for a few laps and see what it's really capable of. But for daily driving, you're packing a rocket. That's not even full throttle. That was probably like 80-90% full throttle, and you're going crazy speeds. And it's just so fast. And the brakes here, as I have to come hard onto the brakes are out of this world. I can't believe I haven't brought up the brakes. The brakes have a great initial punch. They're so strong. This week I also had a SQ7 from Audi, twin turbo V8, very high performance SUV. It handles great. The brakes on it are good, but like, there's no initial punch. It's really kind of just like a slow buildup of brake pressure and stopping power. And when you're in a sports car, you want it fast. You want it, at least I wanted a good response as soon as I get into the pedal. And I just didn't have that in this car. I didn't have that in the Audi, but in this car, it's perfect braking. I love it. I'm very happy with it. And then you can just put auto brake hold when you're stuck in traffic. It's a fantastic all-around vehicle. If it only got 30 miles per gallon, then it would be perfect, right? But you might see mid to low 20s if you are doing a lot of highway driving. It can just putt around in 10th gear, right? I've been driving it in city, and I'm at about 13.5 miles per gallon, and I think it's rated 13 miles per gallon in town. So this Cadillac, it's a thing of beauty. Americans know how to make a fun to drive and extremely capable rear-wheel drive sedan, and Cadillac kind of has that market to themselves. Especially with the manual, I can't think of anyone else that's doing what Cadillac's doing. And not only that, Cadillac could just be like, hey, I'm going to put a manual and a V8 and call it a day, and that would be fine too, because that's a dying breed as well. Really, it's like the Mustang is kind of what we're left with there, since the Camaro's going away and the Corvette's fully automatic. The manual, when this vehicle's equipped with the manual, I feel like I'm grinning ear to ear. With the automatic, it's just like like I said, it feels like the car's doing too much for me. It's fast as hell. Don't get me wrong. I would be faster around a track with the automatic too, I'm sure. But it's not as fun. This vehicle is not as fun with the automatic as it is with the manual. But we're really stuck in traffic now. I actually see a GR Corolla up there. in that matte gunmetal color. I forget exactly what they call that color, but it looks good. So thank you guys for watching Cadillac. Well done. Let's go ahead and head into the office while I'm stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. I got off on the wrong exit, that's for sure. So I'll see you guys in the office, and we'll talk about where this vehicle lands with how it's equipped with this automatic. We can't end without seeing a clever custom tag from a Tesla person. Tesla toy. Just gotta love it. Guys, I've evolved this just a little bit before we place the Cadillac here. I've evolved my list just a little bit into a tier list. This is 100% subjective, of course. At the end of this year, it probably will come down to car of the year being me comparing a bunch of S tier models. In the meantime, I have to rank these other than just numerically. I have to put them in a category. Otherwise, like, I mean, there's just so many different models here, right? We have in the same category Murano, 2-row crossover, a 3-row crossover, 2-row luxury crossover, and a minivan hybrid. So let's get into the CT5-V Series Blackwing. Where is it going to land? All right, and I've been thinking about this all week because I'm like, okay, I prefer the manual. The manual is easy S tier. And in fact, the manual will probably be first on the list. But since I stripped out entirely like a ranking from best to worst in this scenario and just put them into categories, the CT5-V Series Blackwing in the automatic trim, is it an A tier and S tier? I still think it's S tier. I think the manual is like S plus if I had an S plus tier, but the S plus will eventually have to come down to like the best vehicles I drive in 2025. We're just in March now, so we're gonna make a line under here. We're gonna slot this into S tier. All right. And since there's only 2 performance cars in the S tier right now, the Ioniq 5N, I actually enjoy more to drive in traffic because of the one-pedal driving and instant power and torque, and it handles really well despite it being heavy. I mean, the CT5V isn't exactly a lightweight either, and it's also a longer vehicle, so it's not as fun to drive in traffic for me. As like a daily driver, but the Cadillac I would much rather take on a road trip, right? And I would much rather, I'd want to take both of them to the track, of course, because they're really designed for that, but they're just such different cars. It's hard to compare them. There you have it, CT5-V Series Blackwing. Now I should probably put automatic transmission here. The automatic, while fantastic and fast and responsive and all that good stuff, it's just not as fun of a car as the manual, the 6-speed manual. So there you guys have it. Stay tuned. Gosh, what am I getting next for review? I'm getting a GR Corolla. I mentioned that in my review today. I saw one on the street. Have a great day out there. Peace.